forthcoming slides, we are actually going to cover a lot of aspects. Now, see, one of the point what we need to keep in mind is one of the very challenging situation is you will be called inside the project, probably as an agile coach, or probably as a scrum master, or actually even as a project manager, after all the damage had already happened, right? That is the real challenge. From my experience, I will say learning a tool, learning a tech stack, trying to learn something new is not actually a challenge. The actual challenge is it is like a patient who is admitted in the ICU, okay, not in the general ward of the hospital. The patient has been already admitted in the ICU with some oxygen kind of a mask setup and all. Now the point is you are expected to make the person to have the health to run for a marathon race. So what you need to do, first of all, bring the patient outside the ICU. Then you bring the patient to the general ward, right? Okay, see, I'm just giving some example which comes to my mind. Okay, you may need to tell the relevance of it from your experience. First, you bring the patient from the ICU, intensive care unit, to the general ward. Then you improve the health, so that the medical parameters are deemed fit to discharge the patient from the hospital. Then you do some kind of your diet, exercise, medicine, everything combined. Then you improve the fitness level to go for a marathon. Now, we all also need to understand one more point. We all have only 24 hours per day, right? So you cannot borrow 1 hour from your next day. Your day is also going to have 24 hours. I have seen people who are giving too much importance to the career aspect. Their personal life has been put on a backseat. Okay, so there is nothing wrong in working for 15 hours or 18 hours for your official commitment, but also keep in mind, the more the time you spend for your office work, lesser will be the time for your personal goals and priorities. Then how are you going to balance it? Okay, that's where your ability as a person comes out, right? That is my perspective. Okay, okay, I'm not actually telling people to agree to my perspective. I'm just sharing my own point here. Okay, now what we need to do is, okay, and see one more thing also you actually need to keep in mind, right? Because you are going to make the project a huge success, your company is not going to give any percentage of profit share out of the project. Whatever has been written in your offer letter as your salary, only those things will be given. So my say is like this: before you invest your time, effort, and energy, you also need to take a pause and then reflect. Is this is so worthy for me to invest it, right? That is true agility from my perspective. Okay, now we will get into the crux now. Okay, slowly I will try to shift the gear. Okay, now in this slide, if you take, I have just put some kind of a grid which is going to tell some differences between a purist approach versus a pragmatic approach. Okay, take a minute to go through the slide and then I will continue from there. So just take a minute to go through that slide. I have given some examples. Okay, examples are a lot, but we cannot cover lot of examples, right? Because if we are keep on putting examples, that particular slide itself will become 5 or 6 slides. So I have just taken some examples. Okay, so just to begin, what happens from a purist approach versus a pragmatic approach? Okay, so let's focus on this slide, because this slide is going to set the context of the entire webinar. Okay, let us go one by one. So the first slide is like this. Purist approach generally says your team does an estimation and then will decide how much time to take to complete the work. But then what happens in a reality? What happens in a reality? Reality is, now let's say a company. Okay, I'm just giving examples. Let's say a company like a NatWest, or a client like a Citibank, or even if you take a lot of clients, right? Philips, Siemens, they would have already created a release calendar by now in place for the entire 2024. So do you mean to say that you are going to do estimation and then the work will be decided, or the work is already decided, then you are actually going to do the estimation? See, what is the very purpose of doing an estimation? The very purpose of doing, okay, by the way, I'm not saying that no, people should not do estimation, but then all that I'm trying to say is you need to understand whatever work you are trying to do, what is the degree of circle of influence it is going to create. Primarily what happens, your CSM PSM materials, your certified scrum master, your professional scrum master materials, yes, they tell you do your Fibonacci series, or you do a t-shirt sizing, you put your story points, you compute the average velocity of the team, then you look into your capacity planning sheet, then you commit to the goal. That's fine. But what already happened, release date is already fixed, release goal is also already fixed. To some extent, yes, in an agile driven engagement we can keep the scope of the that particular work item type as a flexible, but not 100% flexible, because business also demands predictability. So you still need a balance between predictability and adaptability, right? That is the funda. Now, are you really going to do estimation, then your release date is fixed, or the date is already fixed, or you are doing a reverse one? What thoughts come to your mind? See, we need to question ourselves, right? Okay, primarily there are two ways of doing things. Blindly doing things because some XYZ is doing something. Understanding and then doing things is the second one. Now you need to decide where are you. If you feel comfortable that no, I no need to think, I will just blindly do what people say, that is your personal call. But then understand one thing, if you blindly do things, there will come a day in your life where some difficult situation will come and you may not get support from anywhere. Okay, at that time, what is that will you do? If you are not training your mind now, then suddenly you are not going to do that, right? Okay, now what really happens is, see, it all actually depends upon a lot of factors, because the way a product company works is something different from a way a service industry works, and something different from the way a captive unit works. You cannot take a Citibank and then compare with a Wipro, right? And you cannot take a Cognizant and then compare with a Wells Fargo, or you cannot compare with the Bank of America, because the business operating model itself changes. So when you compare two things, you need to compare in that level. Okay, so those aspects you need to keep in mind. But the point what I'm trying to say is, release date is already fixed. Release scope is also already fixed. Now all that you are trying to do is, within this constraint, what is the capacity I have? What is that I can deliver? That's all you are actually trying to go. You are not really trying to do whatever is written in the Scrum guide, or whatever written in the your CSM PSM material, whether you have done CSM PSM through any of the certified bodies, right? You are not going to keep that material by the side and then send your office mail, correct? Okay, that is where I'm trying to tell some kind of a pragmatic approaches. Okay, now let's go one by one. One second. Okay, now if you go by your books and certification materials, primarily work really starts from the product backlog. Of course, now actually some people will say, if you are taking safe as a framework, work really begins from the portfolio backlog. Yes, safe as a framework has something called a portfolio backlog, program backlog, and a team backlog, which I fully agree. But work doesn't really start from portfolio backlog. Work really starts from something called a demand backlog, or something called a opportunity backlog. Okay, there is always an invisible backlog, which is not really no depicted in the framework, because framework has a boundary. You cannot put all activities inside the framework. Work really triggers from there. So in a practical situation, if you are working in a service based IT industry, you like your work is going to begin from your demand backlog or opportunity backlog at an initiative level. or at an engagement level, wherein you will be responding to something called a RFP. And to my knowledge, most of the certifications do not teach you how to respond to an RFP, right? How many people agree to this? If you agree to my line, you can put a yes in the chat. How many people agree to you? Even if you have done 15, 20 certifications, no certification is going to teach you how to respond to an RFP. Okay, now can I tell you a reason why are they not teaching you how to respond to an RFP? Simple reason. The reason is responding to an RFP is an art, it is not a science. Of course, you have some different models in RFP, like fixed capacity, time and material, safe managed investment contract. You have lot of things, but actual responding to an RFP is something which comes out of your experience, which something which comes out of your insights based on the conversation with the prospect, and it is a kind of a intuition oriented one. So you cannot take something which is an art and then try to put a formula like calcium carbonate plus hydrochloric acid gives calcium chloride plus water plus carbon dioxide. Okay, okay, it's not a science, it's an art. And anything it's an art cannot be put in and cannot be put in the books kind of a materials, right? That is why many people have challenges in terms of how to respond to an RFP. Generally, what people used to do, they will take this, okay, they will take the framework, whatever comes to their mind, then they will try to fit it to the context. Actually speaking, you need to create a framework as per the context. Okay, so these aspects you may need to keep in mind if you really want to scale up to the next level. Okay, now let's actually get into the third point. In your certification materials, right, generally people do not talk what happens after the after the demo. Why? Because Scrum as a framework is actually confined to something called as a creating a potentially shippable increment, right? Once your PSI is been created, whether it needs to do UAT testing or any performance testing, or how it is going to go all the way to the downstream, it is not really been discussed over there. But in a real-time engagement, you need to take care, like you need to take care till parallel run and the hypercare. Okay, okay. Hypercare is by the maintenance phase of the project. The parallel run is some instance will be running already in the cloud or the production cloud. You may need to replace it parallelly, right? That will come as a part of your DevOps deployment strategy. Whether you take a feature toggles or you go by your dark launches or you go by canary releases, all those concepts will be dealt over there. But then your work ends till the time parallel run and hypercare is getting completed. Now you go by the next line, right? The roles defined by the framework, you actually have something like a product owner, scrum master, and a team. But actually what happens in a real-time engagement, you may need to have something like a release manager, something like a project manager also, something like a product manager also, something like a technical lead, actually speaking, like reality. So but whereas in a pragmatic approach, the roles are defined by the SOW clauses. When you write a SOW, you may need to put the roles also, at least on a high level. Now, Agile says you actually fail fast, but who will pay money for failing? So, because we cannot leave that costing aspect just like that, right? Agile says fail fast, okay, perfect. But even to fail, you may need to do certain experiments, right? Now, who is going to fund it to you? Unless and until you are working in companies like Google or somewhere where you have a separate funding itself for your R&D initiatives. Generally in even in product companies, you may need to take proper approvals even for funding, right? So those aspects and all you may need to consider when you are trying to talk about pragmatic approach. Second thing, no okay, this is something most of the people will agree. Only very less companies are really using the IP iteration, like in your program increment or in your safe, the last iteration is called as an IP, right? Innovation and the planning. Only very less companies really make use of innovation and planning. Much of the companies first week they will take care of completing any kind of a prolonged activity. Next week they will focus on getting ready for the next PI. Okay. Now, one more thing what I have seen, right? Agile says, okay, you go and do a retrospective, okay, and then you can do the retrospective with the client. We need to be transparent. Agile promotes transparency, all those points, right? But then, but then the point is, when you do a retrospective, had you been ever at least once, someone from your manager or your lead would have told you, guys, please make sure that this particular point is being written in a toned down version to client. See, I will tell an example. When I was doing a cultural transformation for one of my client in the past, right? When I was doing the cultural transformation, as obvious we know, culture is a parameter where you cannot put 0 or 1. Okay, because culture is something which you cannot mathematically measure. Density is equal to mass by volume. No, right? So what we did, we have created a scale of a reference like 1 to 5, and we have put some traits over there. What traits? Traits needed by an agile organization: enabling the teams, empowering the teams, team collaboration, decentralized decision making, funding the value stream instead of a cost center based budgeting. These are all some of the parameters what we have put as part of the overall cultural transformation. Then we created numbers like 1 to 5. At the time when we did a retrospective, we actually found a lot of things were missing from the client side. But you believe me, my delivery manager and my delivery head told, hey Balaji, let's be very careful when you are projecting this particular retrospective, and you need to write a to no the word my manager was using is, you need to write a toned down version. Okay, write a toned down version of the retrospective and then go to the client. And what these guys have did, no, they are doing rehearsal for the retrospective. Means what? We have done the retrospective. Like I have no, collected the points. Now I need to go to the client team and then present the points. And these guys are telling me we need to do a rehearsal. How many times I will do rehearsal? Rehearsal 1, rehearsal 2, rehearsal 3. So if you keep on trying to put a toned down version, you are diluting the very principle of doing a retrospective. The very purpose of doing a retrospective itself go for a toss. This is the reason why some companies, even after implementing so-called agile for 10 years or 15 years, they are not still reaping the benefits. Okay, hope I made my point very clear. Okay, if you really implement agile in the true spirit of agile, benefits will, overflow. This is the reason, even after saying that we have started agile doing from 2014-15, there are still companies who are unable to deliver sustained no value. Okay, so these points you may need to keep in mind. Okay, how do we need to handle the situation? That I will tell you my experience. Okay, okay, so how do you need to handle this situation? One of the way to handle the situation is at the beginning itself. If you are trying to put some kind of a opposition to their points, right? So primarily it will be a escalation on a you. The smarter way to handle the situation is, for the initial days, yes, you can actually go by whatever your organization says. Over a period of time, you should have built rapport with the client, and you actually need to take client on your side. Okay, say for example, right, if I'm saying, no, okay, I'm the client. Okay, I'm now saying, hey, Jagadish is actually doing a fabulous job. Okay, I have just picked up your name for example. Okay, Jagadish is actually doing a fabulous job. Once I send a mail, me as a client, then all your reporting manager, this guy, that guy, everyone will become quiet. So one of the way is, you prove your capability, you prove your worthiness, and take client on your side. The moment you have taken client on your side, believe me, you have already won the game. Okay, okay. In some Sanskrit, no, they actually used to tell. Okay, what they used to tell is, that particular archer, right? He has a target somewhere, right? He is actually taking an arrow in the bow, and then he is actually aiming that particular target. Actually speaking, the target, okay, if you are a very capable person in that particular archery, you have already hit the target in your mind. What is still pending is the physical hit. You just need to leave the arrow. That particular arrow will go and hit the target. But at a mind level, when you are taking that particular aim, right, you are so resonating with the target. You have already won the game. So one of the way to handle is you need to take the client on your side. Then all this toned down version, don't expose this, all these things will become small small things. Okay, okay, I'm sharing my experience. Okay, that is how I have done in any engagement. First 3 to 4 months I will listen to whatever my managers say, because at the beginning, once, see, like, you are a new guy, right? So people will not trust you. You need to prove your worthiness and build credibility. Once you build a credibility, you can actually command the shots. So just keep these things in the mind. Okay, from that perspective, because in a webinar I can only tell this much. Okay, I cannot demonstrate and show it in a webinar. So these are all the points you see. Okay, that's why I have written in your pragmatic approach. What will happen? One guy from your company will tell, hey, uh, uh, hold on for a minute, do we really need to tell this point in the retrospective? Can you write a toned down version? If I keep on writing toned down version, the very purpose of doing a retrospective goes for a toss. So we will come back to the solutioning part. Okay, I have given one or two solutions now, but you also need to do some thinking process. Okay, so don't expect me myself to give all, because see, I can keep on pouring out a solution, but then the context matters. The way I implement the solution could be different from the way you are going to implement the solution. All these things need to be factored. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so let's take a minute to go through this particular slide. Okay, I have just put what really happens in a real-time IT engagement. Okay, so let me also parallelly pick up. You can please go through the slide. In the meantime, I'll just pick up few of the very important some questions. See, now what is going to happen is, if you are more experienced, right? If you are a more capable person, you have expertise and experience, the time taken for you to bring the project from red to green will keep on shrinking. Means what? Somewhere in 2018, Balaji would have taken 5 months to actually bring the project from red to green. Whereas somewhere in 2021, Balaji was able to turn the project from red to amber and then to green within 3 months. Now in 2023, he is able to turn the project from red to amber within a month, and then from amber to green within one more month. So the total time taken for you to bring the project from red to green will keep on decreasing. Of course, now people may say that the complexities of projects will vary, so we cannot have granularity on the x-axis. I get those points, but one of the important point is, okay, 2 points which you need to keep in mind. One of the yardstick to measure whether your capability had improved or not over the period of years is the time taken to turn the table. Okay, let us use the English phrase, turn the table. Turn the table means you are actually trying to change the project from red to green. The time taken to turn the table will be as minimal as possible. Second thing is, though the project is in the red state, you will not have a escalation. Okay, let me actually repeat the line. Though the project is in the red state, people will not tell, hey, this guy Balaji is not doing his part well, that is why the project is not moving. These two improvements you can feel. If you are not feeling, believe me, you are not improving. Okay, by and large, over the period of years, if you are unable to turn the project from red to green within a shorter span of time, and if still people are creeping on you saying that despite this guy joined the project, he is not able to deliver sustained value, it means that your capability is somewhere struck. You are not able to break through that false ceiling and then go to next level. Okay, no, see, because whatever I say, no, I really tell from my experience. Okay, if I don't experience myself, I will not tell it out. Okay, so that part you can take it as a assured from me. Okay, now what happens in these practical scenarios? Are you really beginning the project on a happy note? No, right? Why? Okay, now can actually someone tell me what could be the reason this product owner joins at the fourth sprint, some scrum master comes at the fifth sprint, agile coach comes at the sixth sprint? Why does it happen? Can you think from an operational point of view? Just do some thinking and put your thoughts. Because I have heard about many projects, they are saying we are using a Scrum framework, but if you ask them, they will say we are not having product manager, we are not having product owner. And if you ask them, they will say, hey, this is a technical project, yeah. Then why do we need to have a product owner? Such kind of things will come. Planning, budgeting, budget approval we may could have taken some time. And in some projects, background verification will go on for a yugas, right? 2 months and 3 months, unless the time the background verification gets completed, this guy cannot be exposed to the client. These are all practical challenges, right? See, sometimes I have seen in my engagements in the past, right? One guy will be daily joining the call, and but that guy will not speak anything. Then I checked with my delivery head at that time. Who is this guy? That guy told, "Hey Balaji, he is our new Scrum Master." Then I asked my delivery guy, "So why he is not talking?" That is because his background verification is going on. Till the time his background verification is going on, we are trying to position him as a shadow resource. Once the BGC clears only, we can expose him to client. Now actually, you think practically. When you did your certified Scrum Master certification, no, it is saying that product owner, Scrum Master, you have an agile team, and you have your Fibonacci number. Teams are all coming together, and then they are trying to do. Okay, now let me tell one more example. Actually speaking, Fibonacci number, right? 1 2 3 5 8, or whatever you are going to do as a team, we actually need to do the estimation, right? Now in one of my previous company, right, 10 years back, what actually happened is uh, that, there was a functional SME, okay, and that guy is in that company for more than 20 years, and he has, of course, that guy has lot of knowledge on the ecosystem. Though this team is doing a Fibonacci series, before they put that number in the board, right, every time they will ask that guy, okay, let's say that guy name is XYZ, right? Okay, can we put 5? And then that guy will tell, no, no, you put 8. Then once again the team will, oh, can I put 3? No, no, you put 2. Now I used to think, if that guy is going to decide the story point estimation for all the stories, then you might as well don't do this activity itself, right? You just ask that guy and you just put the numbers. These are all some real time, though not challenges, these are all some real time situations, right? Okay, so yeah, okay. Now, how many of you have experienced this? Can you put some yes or something in the chat? I just need to know, okay, whether my thoughts are resonating with you. Leela says yes. Okay, okay. So many people are putting yes. Okay, now there actually could be a logic behind why are they asking that guy, but that guy is actually very good in the domain or functional context. But the point what I'm trying to say is he can also join the estimation and share his thoughts, but that doesn't mean that team will do the estimate and go to him for finalization. That is a strong agile anti-pattern. Okay, though we say, okay, see, these words are good to know: cross functional team, self organized team. No team is cross functional at the beginning of the game. Over a period of time, you need to make your existing team to become cross functional. Okay, no one is going to give you a cross functional team to you and then tell run the project. Okay, that is all, it's not going to happen in a real world. Those are all utopian stories or fantasies. However, you as a scrum master or as an agile coach need to make your existing team to become cross functional over a period of time, which is a realistic answer, right? So most likely you will not get a self-organized team at the beginning. You are not going to get a cross-functional team, and you are not going to work in a system which is decentralized decision making. Every decision will be made at the top and then only coming to you. But then over a period of time, how do you showcase your value and then increase your circle of influence? There comes your capability, right? So these points you may need to keep in mind. Okay, now see, this particular agile coach is joining in the 8th iteration of the current engagement. By the time, because see, these are all situations which happened to me. That's why I'm just putting it, right. This is not something which I have taken from some copy paste from somewhere. I was just typing these points today evening naturally in terms of whatever came to my mind, because these were all the situations which have happened to me. I was actually pulled into one client. By the time I was joining them as an agile coach, 4 program increments have completed. And it was pathetic because that team was not even good in basics of agile, and they were trying to implement safe, right? So I went there with lot of effort. We tried to streamline everything. So, no, then quarter on quarter, month on month, we have started seeing improvements. Okay, that is why, see, if you have really done it right, no need to prepare too much for the interview. Okay. By the way, I'm not saying people that you should not prepare for the interview. All that I was trying to say is, if you have really played that role, believe me, answers will come naturally from inside you, because inside you is the real Google. But if you have not if you have not done that role, for each and every question you will go to google.com and then type, and someone would have written something. Now you need to understand that, you need to take and then put it. See, putting that answer is not a problem, but from that answer, if the interviewer is asking you a second level question, third level question, then what will you do? Correct. Mastering the subject is the ultimate solution, not only for agile. Even if you take data science, even if you take anything like a cloud computing, Hadoop, big data, anything for that matter, mastering the subject and getting a grip on the concepts is the only permanent solution, right? Of course, your chat gpt, your google.com, your youtube materials can be a supplement, but not as a substitution. Okay, so just try to keep these points in the mind. So don't confuse supplementary material as a substitution for a real-time capability building. All right. So here you see, there is no well-defined backlog in place. Okay, let me tell a situation. One guy came to me some 5 years back or 6 years back. I was working as an RTE for one client, and that guy is something from the client side. Okay, I was asking that guy on the requirements, and that guy was telling, "Hey Balaji, this is agile, right? So we are not having anything like a requirements." I got shocked. Agile never said that you should not have a requirements. Agile said you need to take a lean approach towards requirement by writing a user story instead of maintaining bulky documentation. That doesn't mean that you will not have any requirements itself. Without a requirement, how can you execute a project? And I have seen many people, they will tell, if I call them for planning meeting, they will tell, hey, Agile, right? We will do that something, they will tell. Agile, right? So we will do on the go planning. What is that on the go planning? Agile clearly says 6 levels of a planning. If you refer to Agile onion planning model, Agile clearly says 6 levels of a planning. But important point to be noted is, instead of following a plan as a success criteria, you people need to take responding to change as a success criteria. Responding to change over following a plan doesn't mean that you will not create a plan itself. So many projects are done without having clarity on the requirements, and then they will tell agile failed, agile is not something which is working out for us. So you go back to waterfall. If you feel that agile is not working for us, go back to waterfall. But even in the waterfall project, if you are not having requirements, what is that you are actually going to do? So I generally tell people this, okay, simple thing. Output is equal to, generally, output is equal to input plus process, right? One second. Okay. Output is equal to input plus a process, right? Generally. Now, only improving the process, no, through your scrum master or your RTE is not going to give a sustained output. Primarily the input need to be very clear. That is why I generally tell it is not enough if you just coach your team. Your product owner need to be coached, your product manager need to be coached, because inputs come from them. If those guys are not having clarity, if those guys are not able to give a sustained input, only coaching on the process is not going to give a solution, right? Okay, now let's go, let's have a look into the other slides. Okay, now there could be some of the situation, right? You have actually introduced velocity only in the subsequent iterations, but then client will come and tell you, like, I wanted to know the velocity right from the iteration one. And some clients know used to tell, hey, I'm not interested whether you use a story point or a man hours. I'm not interested whether you use 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, or you use even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All I need is a delivery. For me, this work need to be completed within this particular timeline, within this particular cost, within this like scope, cost, and time, within the acceptable quality. Whether you use Scrum or Kanban or DevOps or Safe, Less, DAD, Nexus, Spotify, I don't care. These are all some of the ways generally industry operates. So knowing a framework, all those things are fine. But if you're not really good in your core of your agile project management capabilities and your communication skills, your interpersonal skills, everything matters. Only having framework knowledge is only 40 percentage of the game. If you don't have other capabilities, right, by connecting the dots, your framework is not going to do any kind of a wonder over there. Okay, I just want to make that point clear. All right, so let's keep going. Hmm. Okay, so this is what I told. Your leadership team is not interested in your Jira or Rally tools. Your senior management is not interested in your velocity burn down chart. Who cares for velocity beyond a certain level? No one cares for it, because maximum your project manager or a delivery manager will ask about these things. Beyond that, your AVP, VP, SVP level guys, they don't even know these velocity terms and all. They are interested in increase in the revenue margin, increase in the customer satisfaction score, improvement in the NPS, which is my net promoter score, how to get a better market share, how to have a better go to market strategy, improvement in the product brand index. Someone used the word outcomes in the chat, right? These are all the business outcomes, right? So because generally when I coach people for interviews also, I generally tell them, you need to orchestrate your answer in such a manner. You talk about agile outcomes like improvement in predictability, productivity, flow efficiency, improvement in your cycle time. When I say improvement in cycle time lead time, it is compression of a cycle time lead time. Okay, improvement in your cycle time lead time, improvement in quality, improvement in flow efficiency, all these things are fine, but these are only agile outcomes. These are not business outcomes. Then what is the business outcome? Improvement in the revenue margin, quarter on quarter, month on month, improvement in the product brand index, improvement in the better go to market strategy, improvement in the CSAT score. These are the metrics which we discuss in a QBR, quarterly business review meeting. I'm not sure how many of you people had got an opportunity to participate in a QBR. If not, at least start watching few of the YouTube videos. Okay, QBR is an important meeting, and generally speaking, a QBR will be done only for top premium clients. Companies are not interested to spend a QBR for our mid-level clients and all. Only for top revenue yielding clients, right? 10 clients, we generally do a QBR meeting. In those meetings, we will be presenting all these things. At the time, what we do, we will take agile metrics and then tell, because of these improvements in the agile process, these are the business outcomes. If there is no improvement in the business outcome, no one cares for your agile. Okay, so I just want the audience to get into that particular thinking pattern. Okay, okay now some people ask me, right? Okay, Balaji, I understand that all these things, but then if I am actually put as a scrum master or as an agile coach, let's say in a critical project which is already in a escalation kind of a mode, how I need to handle it? Now, my simple answer to this question is, if you are in a critical project, every day counts, which is a realistic answer. Every day counts. If you miss a day, then what is gone. Because when I was working in a critical project, let's say somewhere even in 2020, I was working as an enterprise agile coach for one of the client. And that time, what happened is that though my title is kind of an agile coach, like I was actually supposed to work together with that delivery partner, delivery manager, and also make sure that the team level scrum masters, project managers are actually optimizing or no, are actually fully utilizing the productivity to the maximum thing. So what we used to do on a daily basis, see, the intent is not to do micromanaging, but the intent is if something is not going on track, if you are trying to look the situation from a 10,000 feet high, you cannot solve the problem. You need to pull up the sleeves and get into the granular level details. What happens on a daily basis? How many user story comes? How many user story getting moved to some other board? For example, right? User stories, defects, incident and support tickets, my prod tickets, my compliance activity, maintenance activity, tech debt activity, code reviews. So many heterogeneity will be there. So when I was working as an enterprise agile coach, I call my RTEs, right, and I call my scrum masters, and I do some coaching session to them. Guys, we understand all about agile, but what is more important is the delivery. And then people ask me, hey Balaji, you are an agile coach, but then you are trying to give focus to delivery, because in industry, if you are not going to deliver value, no one cares for your agile capabilities. So what I used to tell them is, every day we need to have clarity on the numbers. And you see the metrics there. One of the important metrics I have put here: number of impediments resolved, number of risk closed or mitigated. See, if you are not able to resolve your impediment, if you are not able to close your risk, or mitigate your risk, are you really improving? Most likely no, right? uh, like no, it's like a maya, because a maya is something like which will tell as if you are actually improving, but actually you are not improving. So they call in Sanskrit as a maya, right? Maya means, um, okay, let me put it like, okay, maya means something which makes you to feel the real as unreal and the unreal as a real. That is called a maya. Okay, from my experience I will tell. So it is actually going to give a false picture as if you are improving. And the moment I ask my scrum master, right, okay, now can you show me the impediment tracker? Many scrum masters do not maintain impediment tracker itself. And you are telling that scrum master, one of the responsibility is to remove the impediments. How you can remove an impediment if you are not even tracking it, right? So please ask these questions to yourself. How you can remove an impediment which you, when you don't even know the impediments, and when you don't even know the impact of the impediment. So my scrum masters, they actually maintain an impediment tracker, wherein we capture the aging of the impediments, wherein we capture the impediment owner and the ETA. So that's why in my day-to-day metrics, I have put that line: number of impediments resolved, then number of risk closed or mitigated. See, let's say you are actually beginning the current iteration, right? Let's say on the day 1 to day 10, if this impediment is not closed all the way till day 10, most likely this impediment is going to get carry forwarded to the next iteration. See, understand one thing: it is not only user stories which get carry forwarded, your risk is also getting carry forwarded, your impediment will also get a carry forwarded, correct? From the fourth sprint to fifth sprint, fifth sprint to sixth sprint. Then are you really improving if these impediments are getting carry forwarded? See, forget about convincing others, forget about convincing your client, forget about convincing your reporting manager. Believe me, if you have a grip on the ecosystem, the way you command the show with confidence, that will be incredible. Okay, many of my meetings, if I generally take a day leave, many of the important calls, those guys will postpone it to next day. For a simple reason, Balaji is not there today. He is on a unexpected sick leave today. Let's have this important meeting today. And if you are at that level, your job is already secured, right? Even if attrition comes, your company will try to retain you in some form or other. And even if your company is not going to retain you, getting a job is just a weekend activity. If you have capabilities, you should not take more than 4 or 5 days to get an offer letter, right? So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to just zoom my competency here. I'm just trying to give you that perspective here, saying that if you have grip on the ecosystem, not only agile is one part, that landscape, the way you command the show, people will be on a listening mode. And it had happened to me. When I actually present the data, I will present it with clarity and conviction. Okay, if not, I will tell people, okay, I am actually working on this particular metric, I need some time to come back, let me present the data tomorrow. So if you really want to improve on a day to day basis, you need to have a grip, right? If you have not started tracking these metrics, going forward, at least please develop that habit of tracking these metrics. Okay, see, tracking the metrics has a multiple benefits. Number one, it is going to tell the current status of the project. Number two, it is also going to give a direction for your future planning. Number three, you can take these metrics and even do a data driven retrospective so that there is more objectivity in your conversation. And the last but not the least, if there is clarity on these metrics with a conviction, you no need to talk more. The data you are presenting is going to justify you, right? So so start getting into that habit of taking a grip of the day. If you are not able to conquer a day, how are you going to conquer your iteration and your release, right? So conquering the day is very important. Okay, so these are all the things which I thought to share. Okay, so let's take some real time questions in the meantime. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, and I just want to put some links over here because some people would have joined the webinar for the first time, right? So make sure that you are part of this particular WhatsApp group, which is my own WhatsApp group. I'm just putting it here. If in case you are not part of this WhatsApp group, you can join this group now. Lot of good discussions happen over there. Okay, 1 second. I'll just try to take few questions here before I shift the gear. Okay, Pavan is asking a question. Examples for product based, client based. Okay, see, generally what happens is that's why I generally tell, right, you need to understand the business operating model of the company, because now actually what happens in a service company, generally the billing is given for your technical capabilities, whereas in a product company, your technology is a secondary one. Your problem solving ability, your creativity to build new products or new thinking, those kind of attributes will be preferred more. Okay, so Pavan, you can feel free to connect with me. I can give you more examples. Uh, many times. Yes, this is an important question. Sriram says when something doesn't go well, then they will pull in relevant. Many times the same. Yes, many times the same person need to hold multiple roles, and I have done it in the past. So what I used to do, right? You need to check with your reporting manager, and you need to check with your client manager. What is that exactly they wanted from you? Based on the context. See, everyone knows what does an agile coach is expected to do, but context matters a lot, right? So, and then one more thing, you need to have that clarity, whether it is 70% agile coaching, 30% project manager, or I need to be 40% project manager, 60% agile coaching. If you know that percentage distribution, you can align better, not only inside the project, even for preparing for the interview. If you know if you know what could be the percentage distribution, accordingly you can prepare well. Okay, okay. So if someone says that no, Scrum Master is not a productive role, okay, someone is giving a question or not trying to understand something. So we need to first of all check with those people what did they meant by productivity. Only then we can comment further. See, now for example, right, one person came to me. Okay, I'm just giving an example. One person came to me a couple of days back, and that person is already a part of my mentorship program. So that particular person was telling me in her company, CEO is not quite convinced with whatever the work this agile team is trying to do. So the CEO needs to see much more value in the work. And then I asked that person, okay, what is the definition of a value from your CEO point of view? Do you know it first? If you don't know, go to your CEO, try to understand what is the definition of value as perceived by your CEO. Only then I can give some solutions or rather pointers. And then while I was talking with that person, what I actually felt is um, that product owner or product manager or product owner, that guy is not doing actually playing the role in an effective manner. Why? Because see, I generally tell people agile team should not bother about what to do. Agile team should focus on how to do. What to do priority should come from product owner. I don't want my scrum master or RTE or agile coaches or my team members to sit and break the head, right? What is the priority that should come from the business sponsor or from the product manager or a product owner. So I told that person possibly product owner could be one of the bottleneck in the journey. So you may need to have one-on-one connect with your product owner. So actual solutioning no depends on lot of context, right? And um, and don't just go by the English meaning of the words. That's what I'm trying to tell. Value driven. What is value there? You need to understand, right? If you don't even understand how value is perceived, how you can measure the value. See, some people come and tell me, okay, can you give me a metric to measure value? Yes, of course I can give you a metric right away to measure value. But can you tell me how value is perceived in your context? If you tell that, then at the next second I can give you the metric. And there is no point in jumping onto metrics without even understanding, without even having clarity on why am I measuring, what am I measuring. Without that, only focusing on the how part is not going to help you people. Okay, because these traits are needed if you want to climb up the ladder. If you want to remain as a project manager, program manager till the retirement journey or for the next 10 to 15 years, no other capabilities are needed. The more you want to go higher in the ladder, you need to speak with clarity. Okay, okay, I can give a lot of examples. Okay, let me give one more example. I was actually some 5 years back, right? I was actually given a task of doing some estimation and all for some projects or at a program level. So myself and some other delivery managers, delivery heads, we all did some estimation. And that estimation told this engagement is going to take approximately 3 years and 6 months. Actually, if I go by the estimation numbers, this engagement is going to take 3 years and 6 months. Then we all did a brainstorming exercise, because if I go to my prospect or client and tell this engagement is going to take 3 years, then the prospect will tell, then you don't worry about this project, then I will give this project to some other client. Then we are going to lose billions of dollars, right? So what we did is we connected back with the practice. Okay, the horizontal practice, right? We connected back with the practice. We started looking into some organizational process asset. We also started looking into accelerators and the enablers, because it is a project wherein we need to validate something at a field level requirement, and you are not having a requirements document. So what I actually proposed to them is we started having some in-house accelerators or capabilities which will do reverse engineering from the code. Means a older version of code is already running as a production instance. So we have taken a copy of the golden copy they used to tell, right, in terms of the prod data. We have taken it and we have plugged on to this particular accelerator, and we started doing reverse engineering. Understand the older version of the code, now take the requirements. Now we have clarity on the requirements, so the entire project can be completed within 1 year, which was earlier proposed as a 3 years. Real time industry demands these kind of capabilities, not talking about your scrum, your velocity, your burn up or a burn down charts alone. Okay, hope I made the point clear by giving some real time experiences. Okay, so what we did, we have started doing a reverse engineering call every week. Okay, so we have actually plugged on to that tool, and every Monday, Tuesday, we actually take that code and we did some code parsing, and we understood that okay, this is how the field level validation, this is the input screen, this is how the data flows, this is how the business logic happens. From that flow, we have created a requirements document. Because see, when there is clarity on the requirement, anyone can run the project. That prospect is coming to you because many companies told them we cannot run the project without having requirements. And if you also tell the same thing, then why that guy need to give you billions and millions of dollars to you for the project, if that person doesn't see any unique selling proposition, right? So one of the metrics for you is, I'm just going to give you two metrics for you people now. Number one, okay, I'm just putting it in the chat. Apart from project, or day to day activities, okay, what value you had created to your organization? This is first level metric. Second metrics, what I wanted you to be cognizant about is what accelerators or enablers you had created by which more business came in to your organization. Okay, suppose if you say out of these two metrics I have not done anything, most likely it is going to be a normal life pattern for you. Okay, that's the reality. Unless and until you have unique selling propositions, career breakthrough is not going to happen. And this line, no, applicable for me too. Unless and until I have some unique selling proposition, I'm not going to go to the leadership level of any company for that matter. Even if I complete 10 more agile certifications, even if I complete executive MBA, and even if I do some part-time courses from IIM, no one is going to come and give you the chair of a AVP, VP, SVP, right? Unless and until you really deserve it. So just keep these pointers in the mind. Okay, all right. Now, hope you people have joined my WhatsApp group. In the meantime, I am just sharing some of my social media links. So feel free to connect with me using these particular links. Okay. Because we need to wrap it up in 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just giving you these things. Okay. And as usual, right, I generally, for people who join my webinar, I also give them my 50 agile interview questions and my agile mentorship program service offering document. Okay, so you go through this particular PDF and then connect with me. Suppose if you have any challenges to download the PDF, you can WhatsApp me on this particular number. Okay, I will send you the PDF file. All right. So, okay. So coming back to my mentorship program, right? So we have something like level 1, level 2, level 3. So I have different lesson plans for different levels. The simple reason, if you are a, if you are a, if you are aiming for a scrum master, or if you are aiming for a team level agile coach, probably I will try to position you in a L1 AMP. So depending upon your current capability, current maturity. When I say maturity, it's not the English word maturity, agile maturity level, right? Depending on your agile maturity or your competency level, we have different lesson plans. And people who wanted to become project program portfolio product manager, probably they can sign up for agile 4P. If you wanted to become a product owner product manager, you can sign up for a POPM. And you have level 1, level 2, level 3. And I also have a lesson plan called 150 agile interview questions and answer, wherein I will giving you 150 questions. I will give you answers for the 150 questions and also mentor you on the context behind the answer. Because what is the point in just knowing answer to the question, right? You also need to know the context. So if anyone is interested, you can actually connect with me. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll also ping some of the lesson plan links here so that you can quickly take a look if you want. If you go to this links to my website, you can see it. Okay, all right. I think I covered most of the important things. So one second. Just trying to. So people who joined for first time, I'm just repeating the point. You can make sure that you join this particular WhatsApp group, because lot of real time conversations, lot of real time insights happen in this WhatsApp group. Because it is, you see, the moment you are posting a question in this WhatsApp group, please don't expect someone will immediately respond to it, because everyone has their priority for the day. But we generally make sure that we respond to it. And it is not only me, right? We have a lot of agile experts in that group. Of course the group was created by me organically, but the point what I'm trying to say is somewhere around 15-20 people will come ahead and then share their perspectives. And the more you get perspectives from multiple people, your horizons of thinking will get expanded. Okay, so many people have got very good offer letters just by being in this WhatsApp group and trying to learn on a daily basis. But don't expect anything like a overnight results, right? It will take some 3 to 4 months at least. But over the period of time, if you go through all the conversations, much of the real time interview, much of the real time scenarios we are discussing in this group. So I wanted the audience to make use of this particular opportunity. All right. Mm, okay, now what happens? I'll just skip all these things because you by now know the importance of a continuous learning. Okay, this is the framework we have, right from Scrum Master to team coach, program coach, enterprise coach, all the way to executive coach. And these are all some of the testimonials from people who already completed my Agile mentorship program. I have somewhere close to 121 people by now, because I started this journey in March 2021 without running any ad. Had the case been if I had ran ads on YouTube, Facebook, the numbers would have increased. But organically, we have somewhere close to 120, 21 people in this mentorship program who have already completed the mentorship program. So these are all some of the testimonials from them. Manoj, Lopa, Sendil, Shitish, and Rishwana. Okay. All right. Now what I'll do parallelly, I'll just try to, if you want, if people wanted to ask any questions, you can ask. I'll just try to unmute you people. Go ahead and then ask your questions. Or if someone who is already part of my mentorship program, if they wanted to share their experience also, you can use this opportunity to share your experience. Okay, how it benefited you, or you want to share your experience, you can go ahead. And one more thing, if you wanted to give me any feedback on this particular webinar also, feel free to unmute yourself now and then give the feedback. We can, I have 15 minutes more, so let's try to make use of the time. Leela, do you want to share your you want to share your experience, Leela? Is that okay? Because I have not given her a heads up, but just wanted to know. If not, also that is fine for me. Okay, okay. Pavan wanted to speak. Yeah, go ahead and then talk, Pavan. I think you should be able to talk.
Yes. Hey, Balaji. So as you know, that I'm part of your Agile mentorship.
Yeah.
So my experience so far has been just fantastic. You have a ton of knowledge that I think it all down to how much we can consume is a challenge for us as a mentee.
Okay.
So I think it's just the experience is just amazing so far.
Sure.
So thanks for that. And then that group response is, as always, like you always give us enough
Mm-hmm.
time. Like you ask us to schedule a time, and then you
Mm-hmm.
always give us time, and then you help us out. I know you back in some time ago, you helped me big time, so
Yeah, yeah.
which made me chose the right company, etc., etc. So I think it's just valuable. So that's on one side. Just on this today's session, and then maybe going forward, I think just one request would be, so we have this client and then product. I mean, that I know
Ah,
it's just all depends on the ecosystem, right? So
correct, correct.
maybe more, I mean, emphasis. I don't know, maybe same. I'm in a product based, but maybe some are in client based. But I think just to
Mm-hmm.
help out, like balance out your approaches and how you handle a situation at client based and then how you
Mm-hmm.
handle in a product based, that
Oh.
balance of examples just help us out is what I'm thinking.
Sure, sure. Or else we can do one more thing also, Pawan. We can have one separate webinar itself in terms of comparing product versus a service-based IT versus
Yeah,
a captive unit on some parameters. And then
correct.
probably we'll see. Yeah, yeah. That is a good suggestion or a feedback. That's why I asked feedback to the people. Because no, we actually assume that we are actually doing great, but the reality could be something. Unless and until we really take continuous feedback, no, the continuous
Yeah,
improvement is not going to happen. Sure,
yeah.
definitely noted. And one more thing, I will also pass on this feedback to my digital and the service team, so that when they plan
Mm,
for our future webinars also, they can actually put a
mm,
pipeline request there, which is something I
mm.
will do. Okay.
Yeah, because you mentioned in this webinar that for client based is more of a technical aspect of things they focus on, whereas
Correct.
the product based, the emphasis is more on how you
You
can get the
correct.
problem solving kind of things is what is which I completely agree.
Hmm.
Maybe we could just, like you say, that if we can elaborate a bit more on that side of things, then that would really help us out, I think, for everyone.
Yeah, because in a product-based company, no, let me actually share some of the real-time examples, right? Because when I was working with a company called Talisma is a product-based company, and also a Microsoft Gold partner kind of a company, and they have there is CRM product, customer relationship management product. So that particular same CRM with some minimum customization can be used for hospital, can be used for universities, can be used for banking solutions, because the core product is fundamentally the same. On top of it, they actually put some off the shelf library components or a kind of a wrapper class, and then they will try to package the product. So what I felt, my experience working over there is, they are not really interested in the tech stack, they are not really interested in the tools or technology, they are more interested on the outcome and the goal. Whereas in a service company, primarily billing itself happens because of technology only. Say for example, this guy is a Hadoop architect, I'm actually going to put this guy for my client. So based on the tech stack and your experience in tools like Jira, Rally, ServiceNow, those kind of capabilities only, billing itself has been given, not really on your ability to solve the problem. That is one kind of a paradigm shift in the thinking process, what no what I have seen. And one more reason what I felt is, generally in product company I have seen more flexibility of how to get the things done. Whereas in a service company, you have a confinement saying you can use only these two tools, You should not use this particular add in plugin. You should not use this thing, that thing. So these kind of confinements are also there. But now ChatGPT is also trying to replace lot of activities in terms of utilities and all. Even myself, right? If I want to give an example, for building an effective, robust model, I actually created a model for doing the estimation with some parameters in my mind. Then I went to ChatGPT and I was amazed by the way that ChatGPT has given the algorithm or that particular parameter. Whatever parameter I am able to think out of my 22 years of experience, ChatGPT is also giving a similar parameters. Because when you are thinking alone. When you are taking indicators from ChatGPT, millions and billions of brains are behind it, right? So one of the thing is artificial intelligence is definitely going to change the landscape going forward. But then yes, in one of the webinar we can take this as a comparison between product, service versus a captive unit on some parameters, and then we can get it done. Okay, that is point noted. Okay, so these are
Great,
all some
thanks,
of the,
Balaji.
yeah,
I'm done.
yeah, sure. And these are all some of the feedbacks from the people who have already attended my webinars. Okay, now what is the process to get enrolled in the mentorship program? The process is very simple. Okay, for people who are really interested. So all that you need to do is you just need to ping on my WhatsApp number. I have just put this in the group chat. Okay, once you ping on my WhatsApp number, I will we can have a connect on fixing the time. I will like give you probably 15 to 20 minutes of time, and in that time I actually want to discuss with you and really understand whether I could be the right mentor for you and you could be the right mentee for me in this mentorship program. Because mentorship program is a two-way journey, right? While I do my part, you are also expected to have that commitment and accountability. And once we feel that yes, both of us are on the same page, probably I will let you know the process and how are we going to get it done. Okay, that is that no, that is the thing. And as part of the process, you will be getting some templates, you will be getting some inner circle mastermind webinar recording, you will get access to some of my private groups, and the costing will be somewhere around 30K to 40K, depending upon the dynamics and depending upon the lesson plan what you are going to enroll. And for people who are signing up for mentorship program till Monday end of day, like I can give a discount of a 10K on the existing price point of a 40K, and probably somewhere around 30K we can actually close it. But before we get into the commercial part, I just wanted to know whether we both of us are in the same page. Okay, so okay, that's it. I just want to close the webinar because I want to jump on to my next priority for the day. All right then. Okay, so feel free to connect with me if you have any queries.